Welcome back to another episode of Will It Build Warframe Edition, where not only can you show off your original builds to the entire Warframe community so that they can use them and destroy absolutely everything in the entire game, but also win a prize in-game by doing so. The grand prize, of course, being Prime Access, $140 value provided by Digital Extremes. Shout out to them. Thank you very much. As you can see on screen, we have Frost for today's Will It Build, Frost Prime specifically, and I've kind of Christmased him out quite a bit, just because why not? We're in the festive season. Why this is really cool today is because we are currently in a prime resurgence period where Warframe / Digital Extremes has brought back a ridiculous amount of old prime frames, Frost Prime being one of them. You can, of course, do this on regular Frost as well, relatively easy frame to get in the game. So if you don't have Frost, period, and you're going to want to be using this build today, which I'm going to tell you right now, it's looking pretty good, you can either obtain base Frost by farming him out through the assassination node on Ceres, titled Exta, or you can farm out Frost Prime using the unvaulted Frost Prime relics, which are going to be available for the next 28 days, the next month. Without further ado, let's get to the build. So what I'm really excited about for this one is, as you can tell, it's a rather simple build, which means I would imagine that most of you are already going to have all of the tools and resources and things that you need to put this together. This one is submitted by Dr. Floppa, titled Frost, a simple armor strip over guard. This build is a simple and comfy Frost setup for all levels of content. Armor strip your enemies and let the pet spread the pain should shooting them be boring. Frost is the main boy here for the build. The one thing that is required is Wisp, Breach, Surge on Frost for a crit and damage multiplier, and the augment mod Icy Avalanche to get overguard and armor increase. As they said, we are going to need Wisp's Subsume, which is going to be Breach Surge, which if you do not yet have that, you can farm out Wisp to feed her to the Helmet through the Ropa Lowlist assassination node on Jupiter. I think I'm saying Ropa Lowlist right there. And then we will also need the Icy Avalanche augment mod. So if we come over here into our codex and we take a peek at the mods, and we type in Icy Avalanche, this of course is going to be obtainable from syndicates, either Cephalon Suda or Steel Meridian for 25,000 reputation. You can either buy it from one of those syndicates if you are allied with either of them, or you can probably purchase it off Warframe Market for what I would imagine would probably be about 10 plat, or by swapping one of your mods that you can get through your syndicates with someone who does not have access to the other syndicates and they have Icy Avalanche. Those are the only requirements. Right off the bat, looking like it's going to be a pretty beginner-friendly build. So let's get Wisp's Breach Surge onto Frost. I'm seeing Dr. Floppa saying that we want to replace his one, but I'm seeing a lot of other people in the live Twitch chat, twitch.tv/Mactics, by the way, where we record all these live. Would love to have you stop by, saying that we should actually replace his two. One can be used to freeze people at least. Two is just complete garbage. So the one is going to be freeze, a frigid energy blast that freezes targets in their tracks. And the two is going to be ice wave, where we send a wave of razor sharp crystallized ice toward an enemy, dealing heavy damage. Honestly, if it's okay with you, Dr. Floppa, and obviously this is your build, so let me know if you're saying, nope, Mac, definitely replace the one. I feel like we'd probably want to get rid of the two, since I feel like we're going to be doing plenty of damage through all of our other stuff anyway. I feel like we can sacrifice the ability that does damage and keep the ability that has a little bit of crowd control and utility. I feel like that would make a little bit more sense. So Dr. Floppa is saying you can replace the one or the two, whatever you want. So we're going to go with the overall recommendation. Like I said, I'm not the best at build crafting in Warframe yet, but Will It Build has been a great opportunity to help me learn a little bit more about build crafting, and I hope it's been doing the same for you if you've been enjoying the series so far. Arcanes are to help pick up the energy and strength slack of the build, and it looks like for Arcanes, they're setting us up with Arcane Ice Storm and Arcane Energize, and they say that no special weapons or specific pets are needed, but highly recommended to use the Panzer Vulpaphyla to spread status effects to enemies that have no defenses anymore. Reminder that the Panzer Vulpaphyla is going to be one that you're going to get in Deimos. You'll have to go out into the wild and find a weakened Panzer Vulpaphyla, hit it with the trank gun, or actually if it's weakened, you won't have to hit it with the trank gun, you can just capture it right away, and then you'll have to go to the sun on Deimos and craft up your Panzer Vulpaphyla. However, they say that it's not required, but we are going to go with the thing that is highly recommended. They say Archon shards are not needed for normal and base Steel Path Star Chart other than level capping and casting speed. So we're going to do what we've been doing, where we're going to kind of go without Archon shards to make this build as beginner friendly as possible. And then maybe we can slot in some Archon shards to see how it performs once we figure out how it does at a base value. And it looks like at a base level, if we are going with Frost Prime, since Prime frames come built in with some extra polarizations, we've got a base, because I've not formatted Frost Prime at all yet, we've got a base minus and a base double D. So starting with the Arcane slots, they had us with an Arcane Energize, which I do know is a very rare one to get. That bad boy is going to come from doing Eidolon hunts, Tridolon hunts, all that good stuff. And then they had us with an Arcane Ice Storm, which Arcane Ice Storm, I only have a rank 2 of, so hopefully that's not going to be a deal breaker. Although I reckon that Ice Storm and Energize are not going to be requirements for this build. They just help out with the energy and strength slack of the build. So I think we'll probably be okay if we don't have rank 5s of those, although I guess we'll figure out, right? Looking at mods, we're starting off with Ready Steel. So we'll throw in Ready Steel, rank that up a bit. That'll take our capacity all the way up to 44. And then we're going to have Archon Flow, and we are going to have to rank this one up a little bit. I don't know if I want to max rank it. I'll get it to like 8, and then we'll see what we're looking like after that. I also saw an adaptation down in this bottom left slot. When damaged, plus 10% resistance to that damage type for 20 seconds. It's going to stack up to 90%. Our Archon Flow is going to give us a 151% energy max, and enemies killed by cold abilities have a 10% chance to drop an energy orbs. This is going to help to keep our energy stockpiled as much as possible. Next up, we've got Streamline for 30% bonus ability efficiency. And I also saw a Blind Rage, which is going to give us an 81% bonus to ability strength at the cost of 45% ability efficiency. Now, my Blind Rage is only at rank 8. However, I noticed that their Blind Rage is also only at rank 8, so I think that will probably do. Moving on, we've got an Overextended for 90% ability range at the cost of 60% ability strength down here in our final D slot. And this is the time where we're going to have to go ahead and slot in that potato so that we can take our energy capacity from 44 all the way up to 74. In the next slot, we're going with our Icy Avalanche, which is an Avalanche Augment. Allies within affinity range are coated in ice that grants 40 overguard per enemy hits. Overguard increases by 5% of your armor once per enemy. So I'm assuming that's going to be the primary thing where we're getting a ton of overguard. I didn't realize, I know you said it was a very overguard heavy build in your title. I didn't realize we were also going to be giving overguard to all of our allies as well. So that sounds really nice. Not only are we making ourselves a little bit more tanky, increasing our own survivability, but we're also giving it to allies as well, which makes sense if you consider the holiday season and our fashion is the season of giving. Finally, we're going to round out with Precision Intensify, which is going to give us, once maxed, 90% bonus ability strength specifically for our 4th ability. And then finally in this bottom slot, we had Biting Frost, which is another Frost augment mod where Frost gains, let me max this out first before I actually read those values, 200% critical chance and 200% critical damage against frozen enemies. And this is another augment mod, Biting Frost. I'm assuming that we'll be able to get that augment mod from the same source that we got Icy Avalanche from. This is also going to be from Cephalon Suda or Steel Meridian, similar to Icy Avalanche. Now, before we continue getting the build set up specifically with our companion and going out and testing it, I first need to figure out what Frost's abilities even do, because I actually have no idea what Frost does, and I don't really know any of the synergies between Frost's abilities. So what I want to do is I want to take a peek at all of Frost's abilities, kind of figure out what the general gameplay loop is going to be here in the simulacrum so we can test it out. And I would appreciate it if anyone in the Twitch chat could give me some like top tier tips or top secret tips of any synergies or combos with Frost's abilities that might be not exactly common knowledge. So first, looking at the passive, cold status effects from Frost abilities have their duration increased by 100%. Frost gains 50 armor per enemy inflicted with cold status within 15 meters. We also already know what Freeze does, a frigid energy blast that freezes targets in their tracks. Since this was an ability that people told me could have been swapped out if we didn't want to swap out the 2 for Breach Surge, I'm going to assume that this ability is not going to get used very often. Breach Surge is what we subsumed over from Wisp, we're going to open a dimensional breach to overwhelm nearby enemies and cause them to release aggressive surge sparks when damaged. Wisp, or in this case, Frost, may also target a reservoir to teleport to it and we can't. Ooh, I have a question, actually. If we have Breach Surge on Frost, and we're playing with a Wisp, and a Wisp puts down a reservoir, can I, as Frost, use my subsumed Breach Surge to teleport to their reservoir? No, okay, no. I'm told no. Listen, I like to think of the possibilities sometimes, okay? So we're really focused with the first half of this ability. Open a dimensional breach to overwhelm nearby enemies, cause them to release aggressive surge sparks when damaged. That's what we're really concerned with here. Our 3 is going to be Snow Globe, where Frost deep freezes any vapor and moisture in the area, creating a protective sphere with brief invulnerability to boost its strength. So is this like a time stop? We'll figure it out when we actually start testing it out. Finally, we've got Avalanche, which is going to summon a treacherous landslide of ice that instantly freezes and shatters all enemies in its radius, which is probably going to be pretty important if I recall correctly, because if we go back and we look at how we modded out Frost, we've got Biting Frost, where we have a 200% bonus critical chance and crit damage against frozen enemies. And we had Icy Avalanche, which is specific towards our 4, where allies within affinity range are going to be coated in the ice that grants a 60 overguard per enemy hit. So, makes sense to me. Well, let's see. Let's just use some abilities real quick. Oh, let's see. Let's try and figure out what's going on. So our 1 seemed pretty simple. Just freeze a dude, basically. All right, so let's try out our 2. So our 2 seems to be like a stun, basically. Stun, stagger, whatever you want to call it. It's pretty long as well, lasting 15 seconds. It also spreads damage. Oh, okay. Shoot them. Oh, I see. Okay. And then our 4 was going to be like the really important... Whoa! 10k overguard. All right. Okay. I'm thinking we go 4. That freezes them, gives us overguard. Then we do our 2, so we have the damage spread. And we have 200% bonus crit chance and crit damage while they're frozen. Am I picking up what's being put down a little bit here? Now, let's test this out. Let me throw in a weapon that can actually do damage, because I just kind of have a... goofball weapon on right now. Do 2, then 4, and see what happens? Oh, am I doing my abilities in the wrong... I guess that kind of makes sense, right? Rude. And then we'll hit the 4. And then we'll kill one. Okay. I get it now. Okay. 2, 4... Okay. Gotcha. And the 4 armor strips, it does? Oh yeah, check that out. We have 126% armor reduction from our 4. Spam your 4 on enemies to see your max overguard count. Okay. Let's see. And we haven't even done any Archon shards, like really selected the specific weapons we want, or done our companion yet. What happens if we get our companion in the mix? They said we wanted a Panzer Volpafla. So right now, the only offensive mod that we've got that's going to make our pet attack is the Viral Quills ability. Resourceful Retriever is just double resource pickup chance. Animal Instinct is our loot radar, and Fetch is to go ahead and gather stuff for us. So we don't really have our Volpafla doing anything crazy right now. Okay, so we'll do our 2, we'll do our 4. And we'll see what Crunch does. Oh, Crunch is dead. Sorry, Crunch. Let's try again. Get him. Get him. Do we need another mod? Panzer Devolution. Devolves into its larval form when downed and attacks enemies with quills. Oh, the pet's not really supposed to be killing a bunch of them. It's just priming them. I see. Okay, so this is just bigger numbers. No, I get it. I see now. Okay, so hit the 2, hit the 4. They're priming with viral. Oh, okay. Yeah, okay. I gotcha. Now, before we go out and start testing this in actual missions, are there any particular weapons, Dr. Falapa, that you would recommend that you think would, like, specifically go well with this? Or is it genuinely use whatever you want? Glaxion and Torrid are really good for chaining kills, but anything should be free. I think we'll stick with the Glaxion then, because the Torrid with Torrid and Carnon is a build in and of itself. I do want to highlight what's going on with this build. I actually do have a Glaxion. I'm going to take my Glaxion Riven off right now, though, just in case anyone watching this does not have a Glaxion Riven. So let's mod this puppy out. Let's get a Galvanized Chamber on. We'll do our 60-60 right there. Glaxion is built in cold. We're getting the Toxin from the Tenant. Okay, let's go Cold Corrosive. Let's try out the Cold Corrosive. Maybe go Primed Cryo rounds. Would we want Galvanized Aptitude, or is that like a bit overkill on status chance? Plus 40% direct damage per status type affecting the target for 20 seconds. I feel like that would be kind of nasty. What if we dropped the primed cryo rounds, move one of these over here, and stick in a serration? I'm just trying to see something. Boom. Boom. Okay, that feels better already. I saw a couple mills and see if we can get better. If you have an arcane adapter, that is true. We could go and do like primary merciless for some base damage. And if we did primary merciless, we probably don't need serration anymore, so we can get rid of serration. And then we can throw the critical delay over. Oh, we have point strike though. So drop point strike, get critical delay in. And then you're saying hunter munitions. 5% chance to apply slash on critical. Let's just try it with hunter munitions. Change the elemental to the 60-60. So we want viral. We'll go infected clip there, malignant force there, and rhyme rounds here. Wait, no, our panzer's giving viral. We don't need viral. Well, okay, if someone didn't have a panzer though, let's say someone doesn't have access to that Vulpaphyla. Oh, okay, that's hot knife through butter. That is hot knife through butter. You'd use malignant force, high voltage, and primed cryo rounds. Hold up, let me wrap my brain around this a little bit. Because currently we have 120% status chance and 161 viral. You're saying malignant force, and then we want high voltage, and then we want primed cryo rounds instead of infected clip, and that'll give us our cold corrosive. And that's what you would go if you do have a Vulpaphyla and you can't apply viral, right? So let's see how this fares. I did 21 million. 10 million. Okay. I see. I get it. So basically, if you don't have the Vulpaphyla, you go the viral setup. If you do have the Vulpaphyla, then you go the corrosive setup. And I'm noticing so far in this build, our 1 and 3 are literally not relevant at all. It's just 2-4 beam. We'll go ahead. I've been loving testing this in Steel Path Circulus because it gives us one of the highest enemies that we're able to fight before obviously you get to like EDA and level cap content and stuff like that. Okay, so hit the 2, hit the 4, 7k overguard, and let's see how long we can cook stuff until we're like, I'm out of energy. Okay, so we're one-shotting everything. They can't shoot at us because they're all frozen. And even if they could shoot at us, we have 5 digits worth of overguard. Yeah, so already we're out of energy. About a minute into burning packs. So we definitely have some energy issues. So we are going to have to make a couple of tweaks. I mean, we're back on energy now. But ideally, I would like to find a way to kit this out where we can basically spam our 2 and 4 on every single pack of enemies without a care in the world. And I'm thinking for that, we're probably going to want to invest a little bit into efficiency. The first thing I want to test, if we do want to go with Glaxion specifically, let's try out this Photon Overcharge and see if that is enough to fix the problems alone. However, I do want to test some other potential solutions for this build also. I want to figure out a way to fix our energy problems without having to specifically use the Glaxion so that this build is still applicable with other weapons. We're going to try out Photon Overcharge, but I also want to try out some frame modding specific solutions as well. Alrighty, so let's get our initial energy up with our Zeramin tree. Not Zeramin tree. Zenerite. And then we got our 2. We don't have enough. There's our 4. Okay, it's still feeling pretty good. Give me a second here. Let's get a bigger pack so we have more share damage going. I mean, still one-shot and everything. These guys are already sentient surged. I'm gonna recast it so we... Yeah, guys, I think we're okay. I think we're good. And max energy so far. We're just gonna keep killing a little bit and see if our energy ever gets in a pickle. I'm probably gonna cast my abilities a little bit more than I probably need to kind of like intentionally try and stress test the energy constraints that we got going on now. But as far as I can tell, I think it's impossible to lose our energy with that Glaxion augment mod. So this is an optional solution, but what if you don't want to use Glaxion specifically with this build? What if you're one to use a different weapon? And then obviously you can't rely on the Glaxion mod setup to keep your energy capped out. So now let's find a frame-specific mod setup that can kind of alleviate our energy concerns. We're gonna come back over to our Glaxion, and we are going to take away our photon overcharge and reslot our hunter munitions as we had previously. So now our Glaxion is not gonna be doing the work for us. Equilibrium, that sounds good, because equilibrium is going to give us energy. Whenever we pick up health, we get 90% energy. What if we got rid of adaptation? When damaged, 10% resistance to that damage type, we're not getting damaged. Everything's frozen. And even if we do, we have 40k overguard. So I feel like we don't really need this, to be honest. We could do a little primed flow action. What if we, instead of, because Archon flow is giving us 151% energy max. Yes, enemies killed by cold abilities have a 10% to drop orb, but we're not killing enemies with our cold abilities. We're just freezing them. And then with Biting Frost, we're getting bonus damage. So I feel like primed flow over Archon flow makes a lot more sense, right? Boreal's Hatred, that's gonna give us some ability efficiency. What if we did something like this? What if we stuck the Boreal mod here to give us 15% ability efficiency, and then we drop Streamline to lose 30% ability efficiency? That's gonna be offset a little bit by the 15% we get from Boreal's Hatred. And in place of Streamline, we can do our Equilibrium. Archon flow max rank is 185. True. However, at max rank, Archon flow is 16 energy, which when cut in half by the polarized slot would take it down to 8, which technically we can do because we have 1 capacity. But what if you wanted to do an extra point in equilibrium, for example? You know what I mean? Prime flow gives us the same benefit for less cost because we're not taking advantage of the additional benefits of Archon flow in any capacity because we're not killing stuff with our cold abilities. So let's try that switch and see if our energy problems still feel good. That way we can confirm that you can use this build without the Glaxion. And hit our 2. Wait a little bit, hit our 4. I feel like, too, as well, the damage on the Glaxion feels a little bit better. Okay, so now we're having a little bit of energy problems. Let's see if this can be salvaged. 4. Okay, the energy's working so far, but it feels a little tight. See, now we're kind of in a bad spot. Are we able to actually take advantage of equilibrium? Because, yes, the health pickups are giving us 90% energy. Is the game even gonna let us pick those up when we're max health? Like, we're never gonna take any damage because we have so much overguard. Or will it still lets us pick them up? Okay. So it's just not enough then. Synth fiber on pet could spawn health orbs. Okay, we can try that. We can try that. Did you mean synth deconstruct? Enemies injured by the companions have 2% chance to drop a health orb when killed. Okay. Now, if we want to do this, we do have to slot in a potato. But if you do not want to slot in a potato, you could drop something like Animal Instinct or Resourceful Retriever if you just care purely about combat. It's actually gonna be 25% at max rank, so 1 in 4 enemies. And again, I know we are still using the Glaxion at the current moment, but we're trying to find a Warframe slash companion specific mod setup that keeps us topped off on energy, so that if you wanted to, you could use a weapon other than Glaxion. All right, so we don't have enough for Avalanche quite yet, so we're just gonna beam a couple of these guys to hopefully get some health orb drops to get our energy back up. And then we can rip our 4. That's gonna give us our overguard. Everything died. Oh my god! Did you see my energy meter there? Wait a minute. Okay, this might be the solution. Equilibrium plus synth deconstruct? Yeah, okay. This is already feeling like the one. My energy meter shot up so fast. Yeah, my energy meter, I just hit an 18 mil. Yeah, we're basically maxed out on energy permanently. And this is so easy to use too, which I always love a build that's super easy and simple to use. You press 2, and then you press 4, and then you shoot a dude, and then everything dies. I really want to wait for the Stalker Acolyte to show up though, to see if I can dust him. Yeah, energy problems are a thing of the past. Equilibrium plus synth deconstruct, that's the universal solution. The Photon Overcharge is the Glaxion specific solution if you want to use Glaxion, but the Equilibrium Synth Deconstruct is the universal solution if you want to use whatever weapon. And the pet gets Overguard as well? Oh, true. Because it gives it to all allies as well. So not only are you invincible, not that it really matters because everything's frozen and can't shoot at you, but your pet is also invincible and all your allies are invincible because it gives it to everyone with an affinity range. You can't die with this build even if you wanted to. It takes a while, that's for sure. I can confidently say that that will indeed build, which means that there is only one thing left to do, and that is spin the wheel to see what they win.
Hey, spin the wheel. Let's see what you get. Let's see what you get.
Oh! That's what I'm talking about, baby! The very first Prime Access given away on Warframe Will It Build. Now listen, do not worry because the Prime Access Grand Prize is still going to be available. I talked to Digital Extremes and I was like, hey, theoretically, if someone wins Prime Access early on and we wanted Prime Access to continue to be an option as a prize for Will It Build, could we keep it as an option and you guys can just invoice me and I'll foot the bill for the Prime Access? And they said that was all good. So if you want to show your build to the entire world and potentially win Prime Access in the process, all you have to do is go to the description down below, join the Discord server, and submit your build in the Will It Build Warframe channel. Make sure you like the video if you enjoyed this episode. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you want to see future episodes. Come to twitch.tv/Mactics if you want to see us record these live and help us construct the most perfect versions of all of them. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, have a great day.